Welcome to the West End Library in Laurelton, Pennsylvania, and the February monthly book review. Wow, that's about the best way I have to best sum up this month's selection. I had two books I was trying to choose between to review, and my director suggested this one because it may prove to be a challenge. Well, it just may be. This novel is the first I have read by this particular author, so I have nothing to compare it to in regards to her other novels. The book starts out fairly benign with an annual Christmas dinner among the parents, married children, Hannah and Michael, who prefers to be called Mako, like the shark, and their spouses Liza and Bruce, and one grandchild, Gigi. As is common among a lot of families, there is one present left until later in the evening to be opened by everyone. This year's present is from a company called Origins that does genetic familial testing. The gifts are for the adult children and their spouses. The following spring, the two children and spouses and another couple are booked to spend the weekend at a secluded cabin in the state of Georgia. The third couple is Hannah's best friend Cricket and a new boyfriend, Joshua. In the meantime, another storyline is happening with Henry, who lives with his mother and moves around all the time, often in the middle of the night. Henry has no idea who his father is. He has never made friends at school, he never knew exactly where his mother worked, and oftentimes she was not home when he arrived home from school. One night she never did come home. At one point, not knowing where his mother was, he went to a friend's house. The police were contacted, and Henry stayed with his friend Piper and her family until the police notified him that his mother had been killed. At that point, he was placed in a group home with an older woman who took very good care of him and raised him as her own son, along with other children she took in. Even with the tragedy of losing his mother, he was able to remain in the same school and graduated with honors and went on to college. Henry and Piper eventually marry, and he acquires very good employment. Through Henry's high school years, the investigating officer continues looking into his mother's murder. Henry eventually hooks up with an aunt, a sister of his mother's, and begins to acquire some background information. His aunt, who does genealogy, begins to find information about other people who are somehow related to the situation. Henry meets a girl named Kat, who also does delving into genetic background, and finds out that there are many half-brothers and sisters, one of whom is Henry. This intrigues Henry, and he also begins to look into this as well. While all of this is going on with Henry, the three couples do go to the secluded cabin, which is listed as being an over-the-top rental with a personal chef also available. Hannah's brother Mako is the person responsible for making the arrangements, and according to all who know him, the type of person who has the best of everything and continually reminds people of his financial achievements. The owner of the cabin is a bit odd by having cameras placed in various locations on the property so he can monitor what is going on. As the weekend at the cabin begins, the six are treated to an amazing dinner prepared by the chef and are told about a family that had been killed at that location years ago. Of course, stories of that nature gets the women started thinking along conspiracy lines. Hannah and Cricket take a walk and see the figure of someone across the lake who does not answer when called to. And another sighting of someone or something adds to the mystery of the weekend. The storm hits, the power goes out, the generator does not come on, and basically they become stranded at the cabin. Mako's wife Liza has a migraine, had missed dinner, and eventually disappears. They contact the owner to tell him about their situation. A downed tree prevents the owner from getting to the property promptly. The stranger, which had been seen by Hannah and Cricket, reveals herself, and the intrigue and complications in the lives of the people become involved even more complicated. Meantime, Henry begins to realize that something very odd is happening and that other people's lives are in danger, and realize that his friend Kat is going to do something very bad. He finds out about these other people, makes the trip to Georgia, and ends up at the cabin as well. Basically, the premise is about genetic testing and how many lives can be intertwined more than we may want to actually know about. Finding out the skeletons in the closet can be beneficial in some ways, but maybe not always. So my take on this novel is I don't think I want to participate in genetic testing. Secluded Cabin Sleep 6 is definitely a thriller and one that I read in part of an afternoon and an evening. So if you want some intrigue, make sure that you have nothing more going on or pressing to accomplish because you will not want to put this book down.